tare tu re. Mangalam Shri Mahapani Swaha. Om tare tu re. Mangalam Shri Mahapani Swaha. Om tare tu re. Mangalam Shri Mahapani Swaha.
Welcome everyone to the Lama Life livestream event of Lama Tsultrim Allione. I'm Dreame, and it's my pleasure to support Lamala and you all during this gathering. Today I'm connecting with you from Langenfeld, Germany, where I'm in retreat. A warm hello to those of you who are watching the recording of this program later. Before I turn it over to Lama Tsultrim, I would like to invite you to join Lamala and fellow Sustaining Sangha members as we launch our first annual Sustaining Sangha Summit on April 1st at 11 a.m. Mountain Time in a celebration of gratitude for your support. This gathering will feature a sneak peek at Lama's current heart project, her in-progress memoir, as well as giveaways for Dakini Store gift cards, Taramandala online retreats, and personalized signed copies of Lama's books. You will learn about your upgraded Sustaining Sangha member benefits, what your contribution have helped accomplish, and updates on what is in store for the future. And if you are not a Sustaining Sangha member yet, please know that your monthly contribution directly supports Lama Tsultrim and Taramandala and is the financial lifeblood of our organization. If you would like to learn more about how to become a Sustaining Sangha member, I'll post the link in the chat shortly. And now, without further ado, it's my great pleasure to hand over to Lama Tsultrim Allione. We would like to request that she turn the wheel of the profound Dharma for the benefit of all sentient beings. Thank you, Lamala.
Thank you, Dreamela. I'm looking forward to that Sustaining Sangha Day coming up. Yeah, so this basically is a membership in Taramandala, and everyone in our long-term programs like Osuningtik and Magyu, the mother lineage, are Sustaining Sangha, and then many other people become members as well. And so this is the first time we've actually gathered all those people together and done an event. So it's basically a gratitude event for everyone's support. And I wanted to see where you're all from, where you're tuning in from this morning. There's someone from Berlin. Spain. I love this. I love how international it is. Several from parts of the United States, UK, New Mexico, almost a country in itself. Let's see, Germany, Florida, wow, Budapest, wow, Finland, Boulder, London, South Carolina, Taos, New Mexico, beautiful place. Love to you all. It's so precious to feel you all here and know that we are an international community and we're connecting, creating a web of connection right now. And so let's take a moment to do that consciously, to feel each other and to generate the intention to be together for the benefit of all beings everywhere. Heartfelt intention. Thank you. So last week I was teaching Kapala training level 5, which has never been taught before. And I was doing that here in Encinitas to 12 people who had finished all the prerequisites, which are many. Long retreats, month-long solitary retreats, 3-week Tara retreat, and then a lot of other practices. And it was so inspiring to be with those people and teach them. And so now I have taught all 3 of the practices that Machi Glapton has given me over the years in visions. So this was the final one that I taught at this retreat. There's one that I will be teaching more widely of those practices that I received. They're called Daknang, or pure vision termas, where she appears and she teaches me a practice. It's kind of more like transmits into me a practice. So that one I'll be teaching more widely, and I will be teaching this in Germany in September. I believe the dates are the 8th, 9th, and 10th of September. And I'm not sure if that registration is open yet, but it will be in this new retreat house that Tibet House from Frankfurt has created. And so it's a longevity practice. It's a long life practice, and it involves Salung, the Tibetan yoga, and visualization, mantra, and it's a very powerful practice. And I decided to teach it more widely because I think people really need it. And getting to Kapala training level 5 is a lot, and not everyone will make it who needs this practice. So the prerequisites for that practice will be having taken refuge in bodhisattva vows, both, or being in one of our long-term programs, either Magyu, the mother lineage, or Gateway, the Zimbarangdral, or the Usolingtik. And I think I'm going to teach it in this country as well, thinking about that and looking for a place. And yeah, so look forward to seeing you all there. I'm just going to look and see some other places. Greece. Oh, Ellen. We have Georgia. There's somebody named Georgia from Greece too, who comes regularly. Massachusetts, Southern California, yeah. Tyler, Pintorn. I was there in 1969 before I went back to India. So, anyway, today I thought I would teach on another one of the teachings from the Semde lineage, which is the earliest Dzogchen lineage. Semde is short for Changshub Sem. De means series. Changshub Sem is bodhicitta in Tibetan, but in Dzogchen, when that word is used in a Dzogchen context, it means our true nature. So it really has a different meaning to some degree from the Mahayana meaning, which could be the relative aspirational bodhicitta of the wish to benefit beings, like we do at the beginning of our practices. And that relative bodhicitta is enacted through the aspirational 4 immeasurables: loving kindness, compassion, empathetic joy, and equanimity. And then when that relative bodhicitta is taken into action, it becomes the 6 paramitas: generosity, discipline, patience, meditation, and tsundru or diligence, and prajna paramita or wisdom paramita. So that's the action aspect of relative bodhicitta. And then absolute bodhicitta is beyond concepts and is our true nature. So this Changchup Sem in the Dzogchen context is more like that absolute bodhicitta level. And there were 21 lineage holders leading up to Vimalamitra and Sri Simha in Tibet. And 6 were women. And 3 of those women were prostitutes. And those prostitutes were not in the sense that we think of prostitutes, but rather courtesans who owned their own land, spoke several languages usually, and were independent women belonging to no man. And they became great Dzogchen teachers. And 6 of them are here in this series. And so the other 3 of those women are called princesses, not probably technically the daughter of a king, but perhaps. But the word Semo could also be like a sort of elevated daughter. So some sort of elevated woman. And so the one that I'm going to teach today is from one of those women. And her name is Parani. Sometimes it's written Barani, and sometimes with a P, sometimes with a B. So Barani. And so it begins. Then the Princess Parani received the essence transmission from Nirmanakaya Garab Dorje. Garab Dorje is considered in the Nyingma tradition to be the first human being to teach Dzogchen on this planet. And I say on this planet because according to the teachings, Dzogchen was taught in 13 other solar systems before it was taught here in ours. Isn't that interesting? So Garab Dorje received these teachings from Vajrasattva. Vajrasattva is a deity, a non-human embodiment from the Sambhogakaya, which is the dimension of luminosity. He was enlightened from birth, and he was called the Crystal Child. At the age of 8, he debated with all the great scholars in Odhyana, which is this place that he was born. Odhyana is actually really fascinating. It is sometimes said, well, Odhyana never really existed on the earth, but there's so many references to this place called Odhyana and people going there, like Tilopa, who was the primary founder of the Kagyu lineage. He went to Odhyana, according to his biography, and Guru Rinpoche came from Odhyana. So it probably was an actual place, and exactly where it was is still being debated. For a long time, it was thought to be in sort of northeastern Pakistan, but now many people think it was actually in Kashmir, because there's a reference to a huge lake. Whenever it's talked about Odhyana, it's always a large lake that is referred to. And in Kashmir, there is a huge lake. So what's interesting about it, or one of the things that's interesting about it, is that it actually had its own language. And that language is called the language of the Dakinis. And it's called the land of the Dakinis because there were so many female teachers and women, enlightened women there, that there was a predominance of these enlightened women. And therefore it's called the land of the Dakinis. And in the Guru Rinpoche 7-line prayer, we say Kor Dukandro, Mangpo Kor. So Kor Dukandro means surrounded by Dakinis. Mangpo Kor is many, surrounded by many. And that's in the prayer to Guru Rinpoche, where specifically it's saying that he's surrounded by Dakinis. And these Dakinis were not just his girlfriends. They were teachers. They were his teachers. And he was surrounded by these great women teachers in Odhyana. And then he also had an amazing woman teacher in the east of India, one of his teachers, Lekhi Wamo, who we actually have some of her hair in the stupa at Taramandala. But in any case, so Odhyana was a place, an enlightened place, where there were many great women teachers, including this Princess Parani. And so she, Princess Parani, receives teachings from Garb Dorje, this first human being to receive Dzogchen teachings from Vajrasattva. Usually you hear about his disciple Manjushri Mitra, who was known to be his main disciple, but he had other students, including her. So it says she received the transmission from Nirmanakaya Garb Dorje. Nirmanakaya means an enlightened being in this dimension, this dimension where you can see, touch, feel, hear in human form. It's the word is tulku in Tibetan, and so a reincarnated Lama is considered to be a Nirmanakaya manifestation. So not somebody who had to be reborn, but someone who chose to be reborn to benefit beings. So Garb Dorje is Nirmanakaya. So she received the essence transmission from Nirmanakaya Garb Dorje. And then she asked her brother, Tuo Rajahati, for complete teachings. So we a few weeks ago, I gave the teaching that Tuo Rajahati gave. And so this is this lineage of 21 people. And then Tuo Rajahati summarized their concise meaning and said, Semla Pompo Mepa Dar Shingyupa Me, not being composed of aggregates, mind neither flourishes nor declines. So this word pongbo in Tibetan or skandhas in Sanskrit means the aggregates of our body. And so when we think of what are the psychophysical constituents that we're made out of, we have our actual physical body. That's form, and that's the elements. Our body is made out of water and earth, and there's air in it, fires, the heat in it, and so on. So that's form. And then we have feeling, this sort of very basic level of I like it, I don't like it, I don't care about it, neutral. And so form, feeling, and then perception or conception. Different people like to sort of define that third one in different ways. And so it's the way we can perceive something and then develop a concept of it. That's a unique human possibility. And then karmic volition, that is doing something, having the idea and then doing it, karmic volition, and then consciousness. So those are the 5 skandhas, and that's what makes us up. And so what this is saying is it's talking about the mind, and it says not being composed of aggregates, mind neither flourishes nor declines. So this is a really interesting idea, this idea of the unconditioned. In Buddhism, we talk a lot about impermanence. Everything is impermanent. But there's something which is outside of impermanence, and that is the mind. This isn't the thinking mind. It's not the mind that's listening to me right now and developing ideas, thinking. That's one of the senses, like hearing, seeing, tasting, touching, thinking. This mind is the awareness that is behind that thinking mind, the awareness of awareness. And so that awareness isn't born and doesn't die. I'm drinking. What do you think I'm drinking? Let's guess. I'm drinking something that's really good for you. I'm drinking hibiscus tea. Yes. No. I never drink coffee. Well, that's not true. I drink decaf sometimes. Yeah, I'm drinking hibiscus tea. Do you know what that is? It's like red. And I found out that it's really good for you. It has a lot of anti-inflammatory properties. It has antioxidants, and it lowers blood pressure significantly. Like it's proven to lower blood pressure. I don't have high blood pressure usually, but a few times lately, it has measured kind of high. And so I'm drinking this hibiscus tea, and I really like it. Anyway, so back to the mind. So the mind is unborn and unceasing. It doesn't come into being, and it doesn't go out of being. And this is a very important concept in Dzogchen, that there is something which is ineffable, beyond words, aware, and luminous, which is beyond impermanence, beyond birth and death. And so that's what she's saying. Not being composed of the aggregates, that's the skandhas, mind neither flourishes nor declines. And then, Semla keshi mepe seiching che dume. Since mind isn't born, nor does it die, it can't be killed or cut up. So let's sit for a moment with these 2 lines that I just gave you. I'll read them again. Not being composed of the aggregates, mind neither flourishes nor declines. Since mind isn't born, nor does it die, it can't be killed or cut up. Okay. So let's sit for a moment and let's feel into that mind, the Changchupsem, the bodhicitta mind that isn't born and doesn't die. Our thoughts are born and they die. They come and they go. So turn your awareness to look at awareness or experience itself. Awareness experiencing itself. You feel the vastness. It can't be cut up. It's limitless space. When you enter it, it's a feeling of dropping in. Usually our minds are kind of stirred up, moving forward, grasping at the next thought. When you enter awareness, there's a feeling of dropping down, resting. Resting and widening. Widening into limitlessness. Yeah. Let me know your experience doing that. I'll continue teaching, then I'll look and see what you wrote. So the next line is Tamche Semsu Dupe Semni Chuki Ku. Tamche is everything, Sem mind, and then Supi Dupa Semni Chuki Ku, mind's nature, Semni, Chukiku is Dharmakaya. So that's a big line. So everything is mind. Everything. Your thoughts are mind too. Your feelings, all the phenomenal world, all appearances. Everything is mind. And then, so it's sort of progressive, like everything is mind and mind is Dharmakaya. Dharmakaya is one of the three kayas. I talked about Nirmanakaya before, Garbhodorji, this embodiment of enlightenment. Sambhogakaya is the next dimension, and that is, it has form. There are beings in the Sambhogakaya, but they are beings of light, luminosity, like Tara. And by the way, thank you all for doing the 13th Tara for Ukraine. We've now been doing it for a year. And we're, I think, almost at 10 million mantras that people have collected. It's fantastic. And you can learn about that if you look on my Facebook page, Lama Tsultrim Allione Facebook page. And I think it's also on the Tara Mandala one. Anyway, so let's see what you said. Feels like coming home. Yes, Mateo, that's right. There's no text from what I'm teaching. True beauty, peace, bliss, peace, deep, dark, somewhat heavy, ease. You can't talk about it. Yeah. Vast beauty. Yeah. Boundless well-being. Yeah. It's, let's see. Kathleen wrote quite a bit. Dropping in concept Okay. Was helpful. I realized that I do feel this when I do shamatha, and I did not understand this dropping in feeling, which has an almost unbearable quality to it. But I also stay with it and don't want to leave it. Yeah. You are a real practitioner, Kathleen. You can tell. So everything is mind, and mind is nature, Dharmakaya. So Dharmakaya is formless. Sambhogakaya is sort of moving toward formlessness. It's just luminosity, but it's beings in that luminosity, like Tara, like Avalokitesvara, Vajrapani, all the deities. That's Sambhogakaya. And then Dharmakaya has no form. No form. It's everything. It's vastness itself, open awareness, pure potentiality. And it's called the Great Mother. I'm going to teach a retreat. I just decided in Italy in the fall. I've forgotten the dates, but it's toward the end of October. And it's called Resting in the Womb of the Great Mother. That's nature mind. But I love that idea that it's feminine. Why feminine? It's not feminine like it's a girl. It's feminine in the sense of the feminine has the potential to give birth to everything. And that's Dharmakaya. And that's mind. So that's what she's saying. That this mind, which is everything, is Dharmakaya. So let's sit with that for a moment. This mind is everything. It's Dharmakaya. Formless, pure potential, all pervading. That feeling of dropping, not falling, but dropping or releasing, is the thinking mind relaxing, releasing. And then you can feel what's under it. Let's just stay in that. Rest in that. Mind is everything. Mind's nature is Dharmakaya. Yeah. This is our true home. This is our own face that we can't see because it's everywhere. Everything. And then she says, if you realize this, this is the state of enlightenment. That's it. Yeah. Let's say that again. If you realize this, this is the state of enlightenment. Enlightenment. We always talk about enlightenment. It's like such a big deal. It's somewhere down at the end of a very long path. We're going to come into a clearing called enlightenment. But actually, enlightenment is probably so simple that we miss it altogether. So present right here, we can't see it. So if we let go of that big deal, enlightenment, and we allow our awareness to drop into and rest in its own nature, which is boundless, luminous, unborn, unceasing, can't be cut up, then we're there. So simple. Feel that. Yeah. If you realize this isn't the state of enlightenment. Sanjay Gompa Yin. This is the mind of enlightenment. The shoulders, back, dropping, heart rising. Yeah. Thank you, Dagmar. Too simple to believe. Okay. Then Princess Parani entered into the intended meaning or the realized meaning of the expressed. So that's translated as, then Princess Parani entered into the intended meaning and expressed it. And she says, I am Princess Parani. So with these teachings, first they say what they've understood from what the previous person said, and then they say, okay, this is what I understand. So now this is her moment. And she says, Changchup Semni Ke Gakni Dandral. Bodhicitta mind is separate from both arising and cessation. Bodhicitta mind, and this is in the Dzogchen sense of bodhicitta mind, Changchup Sem, is separate from, dral means separate from, both arising and cessation. Therefore, it's unconditioned. So let's sit with that for a moment. This bodhicitta mind, our true nature, the actual condition. Namkhen Oba Rinpoche called it the state, simply the state, or the primordial state. That bodhicitta mind is separate from both arising and cessation. Kegakni me rankisem tokna. I understand the nature of mind is beyond birth and death. Rankisem tokna. Rang is own mind. Rang or sem. Rankisem is own mind. Ke gak ni me. Ke birth, gak death or ceasing, ni me, not to. So you could say instead of beyond, here you could say the nature of mind is not two, not birth, not death. So let's sit with that for a moment. The nature of mind is beyond birth and death, not two. Dusum Gyawe Gompa Semla Lun. The state of the victorious ones of the three times is the mind. So Dusum Gyawe, Dusum, the three times is past, present, and future. Gyawe is a short word for Buddhas because they're victorious over the Maras, those that block awareness. So the state of those victorious ones is the mind. That's interesting. The state of the victorious ones of the three times is the mind. In other words, it is this mind, this Changchup Sem, this vast, unborn, unceasing, open awareness that is the Buddhas. That's what they are. The Buddhas in the past have been that. The Buddhas of the present are that. And the future Buddhas will be that. They couldn't be anything else and be Buddhas. And then her final line is, in the expanse of realization, joining and separating do not exist. Tokpa longna. So this word long means expanse or dimension, but it has, when you say long, it has the implication of vastness. It's not just space, it's expanse. It's huge, beyond measure. So in the beyond measure expanse of realization, joining and separating do not exist. So it keeps talking about these dualities. and that there's something that isn't in those dualities, something unconditioned. And that means that this will be there when you die. And it was there before you were born. There's a Zen koan. What was your face before you were born? That's this. So let's sit with this line for a moment. I'll read it again. In the expanse of realization, joining and separating do not exist. Joining and separating do not exist. Let your thinking mind drop. Just rest. Thank you. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, Jody's saying, I experience an understanding. Why can't I just relax? Why can't I just drop into this? Stay there. Because we have habit-formed tendencies. And it's like a car that is already going, and you take your foot off the brake, but I mean, you take your foot off the accelerator, but it doesn't just stop because it's got all that energy behind it. And our minds are like that. But the beautiful thing is actually in any moment we can turn and drop into this, fall into it, enter it, because it's always here. It's our true nature. It's not like it comes into being when we discover it. Always, it's always there, always present. Yeah. So this is Parani, and she was the third of those beings from Oriana. And so I thought before we were finished today, I would answer some of the questions that have come in, or at least one. There's one from Australia. What is my life's purpose and how can I heal from childhood trauma? And then there was another one connected to this. I've been abused for many, many years, forgot a great part of my life, did a lot of personal work, but I'm not entirely recovered. So the questions are similar in that there's abuse. There's another question here. What mantras or chants can support me after getting out of an abusive relationship? First of all, I'm so sorry for your experience of abuse, and so sorry that humans do this to each other. So unnecessary, and there's so many powerful humans that are also abusive. So what can you do about it? Well, first you have to make firm boundaries, create firm boundaries against the abuse, which means don't tolerate it, get help. There are places you can go. And then what I would advise is that you have a therapist and that you do feeding your demons work with that therapist. Feeding your demons is a method that I developed from the teachings of Untitled Chapter, the 11th century Tibetan woman teacher. And feeding your demons is really amazing. Really big problems like abuse can really be benefited through feeding your demons, especially if you do it with a certified trainer in the method. And we have a list of those on our website. And then another helpful thing in healing from trauma is to recognize that this true nature that we have been talking about today, that we've been touching on, hopefully having an experience of, or at least a few moments of flashing on it, that true nature is unstained. Dreame, who's overseeing this program, her name means unstained. So our true nature, our Changchup Sem, our bodhicitta mind, this vastness that we have touched on, this vast, aware, all-pervasive, awakened state is unharmed, unstained by whatever abuse you have experienced. So instead of original sin, we have primordial purity. Kadak. That's what that means. Primordial purity. And so knowing that that is your true nature, things happened to you, but it never touched that. It can't harm it. And so when you feel that shame or pain of abuse, turn toward this vastness and recognize that this is your true nature. Whatever happened was incidental. It was something that arose and died. And it didn't touch this, can't touch it. And that is yours. That's always there. And our meditation practice is what drops us into that, where we go home. If you have been abused, severely abused, you need support. And if you've been abused as a child, you tend to be involved in abusive people as you grow up and get into relationships. And so you need help. So reach out for help in whatever ways you can find in your community. Mental health help. And find a therapist. You can look on the Tara Mandala website. Maybe Dreamy posted a link. You can find a Feeding Your Demons therapist and do some Feeding Your Demons work. And of course, it's one session. It's not going to make it all go away. But there are now scientific studies on Feeding Your Demons showing that it does make a significant impact when done regularly. So I hope this is helpful to you today. And Dagmar, she says she's a close friend is about to die in the hospital after suffering from an aneurysm. And this will help her find peace. Yes. Oh, that's really hard. And you can remind her of this too, if she can still hear, or he, I think it's a she. Yeah, it's not clear. Yeah, you can remind a dying person of this, to rest in the vastness, to rest in their true nature, and not to grasp at the body, because the body will die. All of our bodies are going to die. They were born and they will pass. They'll fall apart. They might be falling apart at this very moment. But that which created that body, that which allows it to fall away, that awake, luminous, beyond words state is always there. It's always here. Can't be taken away. Can't be harmed. Can be covered up, but we can uncover it. And that's what our practice is. Thank you, everyone. Lots and lots of love to you. And let's take a moment to dedicate the merit of our time together. Have another sip of hibiscus tea. Gather that merit, which is all the positive energy we've generated as this beautiful community today, and offer that out to all beings everywhere. May they realize their true nature. May they know that their own mind is Dharmakaya. Thank you, everyone. And much love to you. Have a good week. Oh, this is lots of messages I didn't see. Cheryl. Yeah, I'll be teaching Feeding Your Demons at Spirit Rock this summer in July on the weekend of the 22nd, I believe. That's the date. I'm going to teach this also. I'm going to teach one day on Sahaja, which is the spontaneous wisdom, co-emergent wisdom. And let me just see the exact dates of that. It's not on their calendar yet. Just finalized the dates. Yeah, the 22nd and 23rd of July. And also coming up right away or soon on the 22nd of April, I'm going to be teaching at a retreat center here, near here in Carlsbad. I'm going to teach a day long on Sahaja, co-emergent wisdom. So we'll actually be together and practice together. And so I will get a link up on Facebook to that retreat. And I think we can put it on YouTube also. I know lots of people aren't on Facebook, and I understand why. But we do things on Facebook, and please, you can find a lot there. In any case, so that retreat, we will get you that message. And I'll also be on next weekend, and we'll put the link there. So Carlsbad, April 22nd. It would be great to see some of you there. I don't think it will be live streamed. It's really about being together, being all present. Yeah. So nice to hear your messages. Yeah. Beautiful. And yes, Kathy Greek is on this call, and she's the temple keeper at Taramandala. Done an amazing job, held it all through COVID. And we do practice for people who are ill and people who died. We practice for them for 49 days, the Shitro practice. We like to get a photograph, a name, and a location of where they died. And then we have a healing list as well. So maybe we could put Kathy's email in. Kathy, can you put your email in the thread so people can send you those that we need to pray for, and also the deceased for Shitro? I see this as one of the services that, as a community, Taramandala provides to practice for the deceased for 49 days. Someone at Taramandala every day, or a group, is doing this practice. And we have their names, we have their photographs, and we help them in the bardo. So that's I think that's a great service. Okay, yeah, there's prayer requests, and yeah. And you can put the Shitro in there. Yep. And there's Kathy kindly put her own email in there as well. So yeah, lots of love, everyone. See you next week. Have a beautiful week and practice this. Sit. And a beautiful time to do it is in the morning as dawn breaks. Sit in your window, at your window. Look out. If you're able to sit outside and see the sky, that's ideal. But you can also just turn toward a closed, just a window. It doesn't have to be open. Look at the sky. You can also look at a wall. It doesn't matter. It's not like the nature mind is blocked by a wall. It's always present. So yeah, practice it, and I will continue next week. Okay, lots of love. See you soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Lama Tsultrim, for your commitment, your devotion, and willingness to share these profound teachings with us so openly, and also for answering our questions. It does mean a lot. Thank you. Dear community, thank you for our special, really special time together today. And just a kind reminder that there are different ways to stay connected with Tara Mandala to fully benefit from different offerings. If you're on Facebook, you can follow Lama Tsultrim and Tara Mandala Facebook profiles, and then you can subscribe to the Tara Mandala YouTube channel. And then there is a space called Tara Mandala Community Network dedicated to collective sharing and practice. Maybe you've already heard about it. But if you haven't joined it yet, you are warmly invited to do so and see for yourself how different it is from social media platforms. So now I'll post the link. And now, following the tradition going all the way back to the time of the Buddha, 2600 years ago, you have the opportunity to make an offering of dana to Lama Tsultrim Allione. And you've probably noticed I posted the link in the chat already, and I'll do it again. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the term, the word dana is a Pali and Sanskrit word that means generosity. Offering dana creates an auspicious connection and is a beautiful expression of the interdependence between teacher and student. Thank you, everyone, and may we meet again and again on the path, and may all beings benefit everywhere.
Om Tare Tu Re Mangalam Shri Mahapani Swaha. Om Tare Tu Re Mangalam Shri Mahapani Swaha. Om Tare Tu Re Mangalam Shri Mahapani Swaha. Om Tare Tu Re